to ICO Review. And today we'll be talking about Guardium. Now, this one, as you can see on the screen, there is still a little while out. You know, we've still got 65 days until ICO, but I want to talk about it now and bring it to your attention because I think that this tech is going to be extremely disruptive in the long term. I found out about this one because of a partnership with BToken, actually. So we have mentioned Guardium on the channel in the past. It's about time we get some depth on what this project is all about. So at a glance, Guardium is a global decentralized emergency response network. So what we're talking about is a utility used in every single country in the world transitioning onto the blockchain. Guardium uses mobile location sharing, wearable devices, and voice technology to do a thing called flash organizing. So organizing trusted citizens and professionals to respond to emergencies whenever and wherever these emergencies may be occurring. Mark Jeffrey says in his talk at BlockCon in 2017 that the features of Guardium make it faster, richer, and I believe by richer he means fuller and more comprehensive, cheaper and more scalable than traditional emergency 911 000 services. So let's have a look at the use cases here, the combined value propositions. And I'll use the slides from Mark's BlockCon Guardium talk as examples for as I'm talking through the value proposition. The link to this video will be in the description below. So the first use case here is Guardium will create emergency smart contracts as a form of settlement between EMTs, doctors, emergency transport, and security response, which means, you know, in the case of an emergency, you know, you're not hanging out in the hospital afterwards trying to figure out how you're going to pay for everything. Everything's already been taken care of by the emergency network. Secondly is a factor that I find to be highly appealing. Take people in the third world or take people in disaster situations, floods, hurricanes, earthquakes. Using Guardium, we can directly send funds to those in emergency zones. And by doing so, cutting out governments, charity organizations, etc., that might be taking administration fees or tax out of that donation prior to it being spent on emergency relief. So at least that way, every single dollar that you have donated is present. And then, you know, the relevant taxes, etc., will be taken off, say, the sandbags that are used to block up a flood wall or the food rations or the, you know, whatever it is the individuals need in that particular zone. But at least you know more of your dollars are going to the benefit of the individual first and the government and institutions second. Alert transcripts are stored on the Guardium blockchain. It's a full comprehensive transcript of who was involved, who said what, where the emergency happened, who responded or who did not respond to the emergency, and the rights to that transcript are immediately transferred to the individual that was declaring the emergency. So in the legal system or in any other cases for liability, etc., there is full transparent control of the events in the hands of the individual that was the victim or the individual that declared the emergency. And number 4, an emergency info lockbox. So whether it be Bitcoin private keys or the location of your front door key or lock combination, secret health issues you don't want people to know about, whether they be STIs or blood transmitted diseases, etc. You know, all of these things might be relevant to the parties that are going to be taking care of you or the emergency services that are responding to you. And as such, this information will be released to them upon you declaring an emergency. However, it is in your complete control to predetermine what parties this information is released to, which is a really nice touch, you know, like, because when I first read this, it took me a little while to process, and I was wondering, you know, I have confidential information, Bitcoin keys, you know, whatever it might be, that, oh, I hit the emergency button and then boom, it's off to everyone. But no, you predetermine the individuals that get that information, which is, it's a nice touch. And fifth, the Guardium token can also be used in terms of a referral engine. If you refer out people to join the Guardian Circle network, which are the network of responders, whether they be civilian or otherwise, if you invite people to join that network and they sign up as supporters or emergency responders, etc., you will receive a small amount of Guardium. So it's a nice way to incentivize more people joining onto the Guardium network. So that's the value proposition and the use cases for Guardium and Guardian Circle, the related application. It is on its own standalone blockchain, which means it's not congested by things like crypto kitties that might clog up the network and prevent your emergency from being broadcasted out in real time. Now, in terms of the application is live. It's available on iOS, Android, and Alexa, which is a nice touch. So here's what the application looks like, and I'll show you what little bits that I can without revealing too much sensitive information. So very basic country select. So you can see in a moment it will send me through a login code, which is fantastic. And because I've already set up an account before, it's skipped, the introductory process. Then you can see, you can go in, add guardians, so the people that you want to be alerted in an emergency. Of course, you can go through create an alert. I like that there is a test option. So let's go only test. And there you go. You can see where I am in my part of Australia down on the island. It gives you a live message. So it's that I presume you'll be able to communicate with responders in this area, which is fantastic. It gives you a bit of a countdown up in the top right as to how long this has been going. This is a cool application. It's very seamless. It's very user friendly. Given widespread adoption, I can see this really being very, very disruptive. And I don't think disruptive is the right word to be using when we're talking about emergency services. I think that this will really be able to share the load. I think this will be really able to remove some congestion from the traditional emergency networks. And, the advisors are there on the site and the investors and, there's a familiar name. The advisors are there on the site. There's the odd familiar name, especially Mikko Matsumura, if you remember him from Naga or advising for Naga. Mark Jeffrey, the founder and CEO, Chris Hayes, founder and CTO, check out their LinkedIn's, etc., and check out their blurbs. And the team's there on the website. Mark Jeffrey, founder and CEO, every single talk that you see about Guardium will be him up there in the spotlight, and Chris Hayes, founder and CTO. And, these guys have a nice history in terms of being either entrepreneurial or Chris being heavily involved in, Fortune 200 web applications, etc. Call me a bleeding heart and call me an idealist, whatever. I feel as though this particular project stands to make quite a difference given mass adoption. If they keep rolling out quality partnerships like they have done with bToken, partnerships that have large audiences that can help leverage their followings and give Guardium and Guardian Circle a little bit more attention, the better. I really think that will be for the greater good. We are essentially dealing with a global mobilization of a flash mob of help. And I know that's a bit of a clumsy way of saying it, but this is an entire global grid. This is an entire flash mob of assistance, no matter where you are, no matter what borders you are over, as long as people in the area have the app. And if I remember correctly, they're working with something like 84 projects in 17 different countries. So, if that doesn't start signaling towards saturation, I really don't know what is. So I almost feel compelled to put this in the consciousness of the ICO community. But if you want to know more about this project, all the relevant links are in the description below, as usual. And also Jamie over at Crypto Koala has been able to do an interview with Mark Jeffrey, and I'd highly recommend jumping over to his channel and hearing everything from Mark's mouth as well, because of course he'll be able to give you a far more unique perspective as to why he is doing what he is doing and how it all came about. However, I have been your crypto enthusiast, and I'll see you in the next video.